What happens when two fierce mother hunters unexpectedly unite their families in the wild? A powerful and emotional journey unfolds, of survival, maternal strength, and the unbreakable bonds between young predators. Once, they met inadvertently. The two mother hunters formed a union with their 9 children. They created the largest hunter family in the history of hunters. They may be a little separated from each other, but they treat all 9 children as their own. In the last episode, we talked about the 2 children in the 5 children. They mistook their mother for Ilana in the chaos. When the team stopped, they found that they had mistaken someone, but in order to do this, they could only follow Ilana all the time. This made Ilana's 4 children very angry. Using the shock of her mother, she forced them to leave. As night fell, the chess player continued to chase after the remaining 3 children and seek shelter. And Ilana on this side and her 4 children took a short break. Taking advantage of this opportunity, these 2 little guys are also trying to add more. When Ilana left with the baby, they followed up and fought for themselves. When the next day's morning light appeared, something incredible happened. Ilana actually accepted them. Her 4 baby children also made a new mother's belt with these 2 little guys. At this moment, it was formed naturally. By this point, Ilana's group of young members had grown to 6. No one could predict how this new blended family would evolve, but one thing was certain: caring for 6 nursing cubs would leave Ilana hungrier than ever. She would have to hunt more frequently and also teach them hunting skills. The African wildcat was a good practice target. It didn't matter whether they caught it or not. What mattered was learning the technique, how to be clever, how to make catching prey easier. After this small interlude, it was time to move on again. Ilana was more patient than her mother, Qicai. She often stopped to call the cubs and waited for them to catch up. This was a slow-paced family life, but as a mother of 6 cubs, survival meant she had to speed things up. It was time to hunt. The little cheetahs were all very well behaved. Ilana didn't need to say much. Just a glance, and they would quietly hide, showing a level of understanding that tugged at the heart. Whether they could fill their bellies or not, that all depended on their mother. Maybe the distance was too far. One cub called out in concern, catching the prey's attention. Ilana had no choice but to launch an attack early. Her speed wasn't much different from the prey's, so she quickly gave up and started calling her cubs. Compared to catching food, she cared more about the safety of her young. Even if they went hungry, as long as the whole family was together, her heart was warm. On the other side, it had been a week since Qicai lost 2 of her cubs. With fewer cubs to manage, she traveled faster. But the 3 remaining cubs lived well. Whether in raising cubs or hunting, she had more experience than her daughter, Ilana. As a result, these 3 little cheetahs were never hungry. Today, Qicai planned to give them a treat by targeting an ostrich. Life with a mother like her was truly sweet. Even though a monkey interrupted before the attack began, and even though the ostrich's vegetarian strength rivaled hers, the seasoned huntress ultimately succeeded with her refined skills. You could tell from their round bellies how full they were, radiant and lively. After the meal, they cleaned each other, building stronger bonds. Finally, they played by their mother's side. Compared to this life, Ilana and her 6 cubs had it much harder. For a whole week, they hadn't had a proper meal. They were either hunting or looking for prey, but every attempt ended in failure. That day, Qicai was preparing to hunt again, and Ilana, with her 6 cubs, happened to walk by. This was the second meeting between the 2 mothers, not as tense as before, nor like a joyful reunion of old friends. Instead, the 9 little cheetahs eagerly ran to greet each other. The knight also tried to call back his baby. But when Ilana left with the 6 babies, his 3 babies followed up again. 9 little hunters were reunited again. The knight had to follow up. Just like that, the 2 hunters' mothers with 9 babies. It's a natural formation of a new family. This is much better. One side of the food is too full, and the other side can't eat enough. Now, when we divide it, we don't have to starve. Of course, after all, these 9 little predators come from 2 different families. Occasionally, there are conflicts, which is normal. In fact, the most angry one is the 7 dishes. Because the 3 young ones on his side also like to stick to Ilana. Maybe he's too strict, and Ilana is more gentle. So the little predators like him. As the sun sets over the savannah, These two mothers, once strangers, now share the responsibilities and burdens of a wild, blended family. With danger always looming and resources scarce, their growing trust in one another could mean the difference between survival and extinction. Want to see how this extraordinary alliance navigates the untamed wilds? Don't miss the next gripping episode, where instincts, loyalty, and love collide in the heart of the animal kingdom. Subscribe now and follow their journey to the end.